Okay, welcome to the United Pubcast, the podcast of the official Man United Supporters Club here in New South Wales, Australia. Another night in lockdown, another week done. And before I get to you, Larry, because I have a bone to pick with you, but I just have some comments in here. Josh has said, evening, lads, and we'll hold my hands up from the last pod in regards to his thoughts about Ronaldo. So a lot of the comments so far are sort of dictated around, obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo. Andy Palmer, evening, gents. Rob from It's a Football Thing, evening, mate, and George saying good evening. Until I see a photo of Ronaldo in a City shirt, I refuse to believe it. The whole move could fall apart just by Sterling refusing to give up his number, which is one of the talking points. But my main talking point, Larry, if anyone can rewind to when we did our last episode, Wednesday night, you made the statement saying if Cristiano Ronaldo joined Manchester City, you would shave your head. So I'm just wondering, do you want to borrow my pair of clippers, or are you able to buy a click and collect to buy a pair?
Last time I checked, this was a video about the Wolverhampton game. So I think we should just focus on Wolves and look ahead to the big match on the weekend.
Well, Wolves, Portuguese club pretty much. Remember, they changed their kit to the Portugal kit the other year. Portuguese manager, half the team's Portuguese. The player we want from Wolves in Ruben Neves is Portuguese. Our best player is Portuguese in Bruno Fernandes. So I think it's about right.
I like Nando's, which is Portuguese.
They're not bad. God, the last time I've been outside, and I forget what restaurants are, I forget what takeaway shops there are. Good mate of mine, Elliot, also here, mate. Good evening, mate. We did a trivia night with Elliot last night. Did a very good job, I must say. But as you mentioned, it is a Wolves preview, and that's what we will try and get into sort of to discuss it. And make sure you get your comments in regards to the preview when we're talking about team selection, who should play, who shouldn't play. But look, there's no hiding from it. We're going to talk about it again, and I'm sure each video there will be another discussion about it. But in regards to Cristiano Ronaldo, we did the video on Wednesday, and we had the discussion, but we were sort of saying, oh, look, we'll just have the discussion for the sake of it. It's not going to happen, but let's just discuss the what if. Fast forward 48 hours, Larry, it's happening. There's no turning back now. Like, he's going to be a Manchester City player by the end of the week, or by the end of next week.
Well, according to reports, there's an agreement in place between City and Ronaldo. But look, I still have some hope that this won't happen. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm hoping Sir Alex Ferguson picks up the phone and says, Ronnie, what are you doing? I think, truthfully, I know that sounds so easy to predict, but it does tarnish Sir Alex a little bit. And it doesn't take away anything that Sir Alex has done, obviously, but the whole narrative around Ronaldo's return to United, or that narrative and that element of romanticism, was the relationship Sir Alex had with Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo always referring to Sir Alex as his footballing father, a player who he constantly developed him as a man and as a footballer. So if that's the case, show some loyalty to Sir Alex Ferguson, if not the fans, which adore you and still sing your name in the stands 12 years after you've left. Like, seriously. Anyway, the other thing is Manchester City don't want to pay a transfer fee. Juventus are holding out for 25 million. So, look, I'm going to hold some hope into those two factors, Tom. Hopefully, one of those two factors can cause this thing not to happen. But in any case, I think it's already done, isn't it? Like, even if he doesn't go, I think there will now forever be a bitterness amongst the United fan base, because he's obviously happy to go there.
Well, that sort of stick has sort of stuck with Wayne Rooney from the incident in 2010. Obviously, it didn't eventuate. The week later, he signed a new long-term contract at United, went on to become a legend at United, but a lot of fans still hold that week where he was linked and sort of pushing for a move to Man City. They hold that against him. But look, this doesn't play out a lot like a movie. It's a real-life situation in terms of what's happening. However, one of the comments here saying, and which you just mentioned in regards to Sir Alex, but Andy's saying, Rooney reports he phoned Sir Alex Ferguson this week. Ollie has said no to a return. Well, we'll get into United's sort of side of things, Solskjaer and the Glazers sort of thing in a second. But in regards to the Sir Alex Ferguson thing, again, it's not a movie. It's a real-life situation. But do you think Sir Alex Ferguson is a potential player in this, where a phone call could actually change the sort of landscape of the footballing world in terms of, because Ronaldo's move to Manchester City or wherever he goes does change world football. He's that big of an influence. Do you think a phone call from Sir Alex could be that pivotal, or it's not really?
I think it has to play a factor. If it is his so-called father figure, I mean, I would like to think I'd listen to something my father has to say. So hopefully it has something in terms of Ronaldo's psyche. But I don't know, Tom. I think we can only speculate here, but I think Messi going to PSG has really contributed to this. And I think there's an element from Ronaldo's camp, or Ronaldo at least, to say, Messi's going to PSG. He's actually there is a strong reality that he wins the Champions League. Ronaldo's looking at the Juventus team. It's strong, probably can win Serie A. Is it going to win the Champions League? Probably not. So from his perspective, maybe he's thinking, I've got one last chance at glory here. Got 2 years to really achieve it. What club other than PSG, which he's openly mentioned PSG, he's name dropped that club multiple times, aren't interested. So he's probably looking at it from a where can I win the Champions League? And Manchester City seem the only suitors.
Yeah, no, look, we'll try and wrap up the Ronaldo thing. Just one more point I want to bring up here, but just a few comments. Jamie, one of our listeners from Northern Ireland, morning, mate, or good evening, obviously from our side of things. And George, good day, mate, here from Sydney. Just one comment here from Moyes. He's not going for the money. He's going to City. He's going to City because probably City are the better run football club who is in a better position to win trophies. Romance has always been for the fans, not the players. And the one thing I just want to bring in regards to that, and again, we can have a whole podcast in regards to football loyalty and respect and all that. And words mean nothing at the end of the day. Actions obviously do speak louder than words. However, that interview he did in 2015, so he would have been a Real Madrid player at the time. The interview, I forget what platform it was on, but he said, if Manchester City ever came to you with an offer, would you accept it, or would your love for Man United sort of prevent that? And he sort of smirked and saying, do you think I would go for money? Like, I've got so much money. I don't have the exact quotes in front of me, but he's saying, I've got money. I'm not going to, if I want to go for money, I'll go to Qatar. Doesn't matter what Manchester City are going to offer me. My love for Man United is too strong. It'd be very difficult for me to ever see that happen. Fast forward, it is 2021 and obviously a very different world to 2015, but look, we're going to have the discussion for weeks and weeks and weeks until that game in November when United play City. Your latest thoughts on two nights ago, we were saying, yeah, he sort of lost a lot of respect, but now that it seems a little bit more real, I don't want to say go out on these lines saying, oh, he's dead to me. Like we say that on Twitter and in Facebook messages and that, but it does kind of feel like that. Like, yeah, I've lost respect for him, I think, if it goes ahead. It's a funny old game. My opinion might change in a week's time, but at the moment, he's done for me.
Yeah, look, I think I'm leaning more towards it happens versus it doesn't happen. And to be honest, what's 25 million? I don't think billionaire owner Sheikh Mansour is going to be sweating over 25 million. It's probably throwing more sweat, wiping his ass from the last shit he chucked. But I actually want to highlight, there's Ronaldo's quotes. I want to highlight a quote that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer once mentioned, which I think does sort of have a relevance to this. Solskjaer once said, when I played for Man United, if a rival club tried to sign me and I had gone, well, where's the loyalty? Loyalty is one of the values I really, really put highly. I wouldn't expect any player who has played for a club for 10 years to want to go to their local rivals. It's not me. I know we're professionals, but when you play for Man United, you don't go to Man City. We've had examples of that, and I didn't really agree with it. I won't name names, but you all know who I mean. Enough said. Ronaldo didn't play for Manchester United for 10 years, but the amount of love and adoration that he has from our fan base is something that is enough to last a lifetime. So the fact that he would even consider entertaining this move says to me about what kind of man Cristiano Ronaldo is. Now, maybe some might say I'm going a step too far with that comment. I really don't care, Tom. I think if I was in a position where I played for a football club and those fans showed me nothing but adoration, love, and respect, I've got a so-called footballing father figure there. And the fact the respect that United showed him when he returned to Real Madrid, and the fact that he's willing to do this, given the quotes he did mention 5 years ago about going to Manchester City, yeah, the respect is gone for me.
Well, we're going to get into Scott McTominay's surgery during the Wolves preview, because obviously that'll impact the team selection. But all I'm hoping is Scott McTominay is back by that game in November to absolutely break Ronaldo in half. First tackle of the game. That's what I'm looking forward to. But before we move on to that, if you are watching live, thanks to everyone in the comments. Make sure you do leave a like on the video. That would be great. And if you aren't subscribed, please do subscribe. And just leave a like just to remind, if you do want to see Larry Shavy's head next week when Ronaldo is unveiled in front of 17 fans at the Etihad Stadium. But before Wolves, something that should be a big discussion, but it's not. It's been swept under the carpet today. We are back in the Champions League. We have a Champions League draw, and we've been drawn in for once, not the group of death. We actually have quite a favourable draw. That might be a bad thing for United, who knows? But obviously Villarreal, everyone could see that happening. That was going to happen. I called that months ago. Atalanta and young boys from Switzerland. So just, look, we're going to get into Wolves in a sec. Your thoughts on the group stage draw?
United should be top in the group. Like, let's be real. Like, you look at that, it's really favourable, Tom. Like, looking at the other groups, I think we got the best. I think we got the best possible group.
Well, look, as a neutral, well, not that we're a neutral, but if you were, PSG against Man City, Messi against Ronaldo. Like, it's a fantastic Champions League draw, and does
Yeah.
favour us in regards to the opposition.
Yeah, oil country versus oil country. Good stuff. But yeah, I think United, it's a really good opportunity to right some wrongs and to have a deep run in the Champions League. I think if you look at United's squad, for as much as the Southampton draw would have you think we're in dire straits, United, there's a case to say we have a top 8 side in Europe. I definitely think there is. So I'm hoping for a good conclusion to the group stages and hopefully a good run into Europe this season.
No, fingers crossed. Rob here is saying El Clasico, which look, I'll be tuned into that match. It will be fascinating to see how it goes, especially if Ronaldo is added to the equation. But George saying good group. I hope Ollie plays his cards right. Well, hopefully it is. Look, Champions League is so important, but hopefully he does. Solskjaer sort of improves in regards to his squad rotation, because it is okay. We're not playing PSG and Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid. These are games where hopefully we can rotate and sort of see the likes of Donny van der Beek. And Moyes saying, got to top the group, no excuses, which I think we both agree with. But we will go into the Wolves preview. My first thing, before we get into players and teams and everything, my main concern, and tell me I'm overreacting, Mike Dean's the referee. It just gives me a bad feeling going into this weekend that he's going to be the one with the whistle.
I think he's the worst referee in the Premier League. And that's not just from a United game perspective. I've watched him in other games. He's a shocker, mate. Like, he just seems to me like he's so egotistical and he wants to be the center of attention. He reminds me a lot of who's the referee? He's no longer a referee. He's retired now. The bloke who had the hair transplant. I'm having the yes, very similar traits. Both of those two referees. I'm sweating at time. I hope that it's not. I hope a bad decision doesn't go against United, but. Could do. Look, at the end of the day, all jokes aside, I think United should still, irrespective of the referee, get a favourable result in this game.
Well, I'd love to see the stats. Andy just leaves a comment here saying overreact in regards to Mike Dean. And look, there's possibly a stat out there saying we win most of our games with Mike Dean, and a comment here from Rob saying start our shiny toys in regards to obviously Sancho and Varane. And well, I even almost put Cavani in that. I know Cavani's been with us for a year, but we haven't seen him in that long. He kind of does feel like that. But we will get into it. And just the first bit in regards to the preview, which I mentioned earlier in regards to Scott McTominay, he's had groin surgery. And obviously it just looks like a little bit of a routine surgery, but it almost falls back a little bit on Solskjaer. Sort of Rashford played for so long through injury. And from all reports, this injury from Scott McTominay, he's been playing through the pain barrier. So which is great. We sort of celebrate as fans and say, that's great. He's fighting through the pain barrier for the cause. That's great. Then you see, well, now he might be out for a few months through injury. And you just think, well, is it worth it? So just your thoughts when you woke up and saw the news that McTominay had obviously had surgery and is going to be on the sideline for a bit.
Yeah, look, disappointing news, but Scott himself has said he only expects to miss 2 games. So if that's the case, fair play. It could just be one of those things where you don't expect it to be as serious, but the medical advice is, look, actually it's better for you to treat it now. I think this is different to the Rashford category where Rashford, you could see it physically. He was playing through pain, and he clearly did it for months on end. I think with this situation, a little bit different. Look, if Scott comes back in a month, no issues at all. I think if he takes a few months to come back, then, yeah, you can point some fingers at the manager.
We're scrolling through Twitter, and look, scrolling through Twitter is not where you should be getting your football opinion from, but it's what we do all day, every day. And I'm just thinking, when this news came through of Scott McTominay being out, everyone was saying, okay, this is Donny van der Beek's chance. I was thinking, well, is it really? Like, I'd like to think so. I'd like to think, okay, that's where he can maybe fit in. But we've still got Fred, still got Matic, you've still got Pogba who can drop from the left inside to one of the midfield positions. Do you go along with this opinion that, okay, this is Van der Beek's chance, or are you with me with saying, look, you'd like it to be? No, but can you see Solskjaer affording him that opportunity?
Yeah, I can, because he's really got no other options. This is the perfect storm for Van der Beek. Fred and Matic, that's probably the worst game I've seen Matic play in 18 months. Fred is Fred, okay? He's got his strengths, but his weaknesses are on the ball, and that got exposed on the weekend. If Van der Beek can't get in now, then forget it. If he's not starting this weekend, Tom, then his career, United just sell him in January, because it's not worth it. I don't. It's not fair to him, because it is too good and too young of a player to be wasting himself on the bench when he's seeing the likes of Fred and Matic starting in front of him. The other thing is, I think it's clear Solskjaer doesn't fancy Pogba in the pivot. He obviously doesn't. If you think back to last season, After I want to say from probably December, there was a game he got injured. He then came back, Pogba. From when he returned, he never got played in the pivot until the Europa League final. He played him in the forward line. So he doesn't have the defensive work rate for it, Pogba. As much as I'm a fan, he can't play in a 2-man midfield. That's clear. So if he can't get in now, mate, seriously, something's wrong.
Paul Moyes just saying here, Donny van der Beek's time to shine. George also, it's van der Beek's time. Pogba plays better out wide. Will be interesting because we've just been discussing Paul Pogba, but we're having this debate 5 years later. What's his best position? And almost like Solskjaer doesn't know as well. One day he's centre midfielder, one day he's a left winger. And George, if Ollie doesn't drop Fred after PSG, when will he ever get dropped? And that's where I stick with it. I see all these comments say, okay, it's Van der Beek's time. You've said, okay, this is his time. And I'm thinking, I'd like it to be his time. However, I'm thinking, well, as poor as Fred and Matic were, yes, I'd be dropping them. The evidence we have, I don't think they will be dropped. Or if they're not dropped, it'll be Paul Pogba in their example. I just don't. I'd love it to be Donny van der Beek. I just don't expect it to be. But you're expecting it. You think Solskjaer will start him?
Yeah, I think he will. I think he starts this weekend.
Almost like a cup final for him, a big audition, because he'll have to take it when opportunities are that sort of scarce for players. It's hard. It's a hard situation coming in for your first time in 6 weeks and having to perform, but the cards are against him. He's going to have to perform. Ryan here agrees. Free Donny, he needs to run in the team. Look, it will be interesting. Further forward, I just see a comment here from, we'll discuss Rafael Varane in a sec, but just a comment a little bit earlier from Rob saying, quick side opinion on the Cavani situation. And we'll just discuss Cavani in regards to the team selection starting 11. We've seen Varane on the bench against Southampton, was never likely to come on. We've seen Sancho make 2 sort of appearances off the bench. You assume he's probably going to start this time. Cavani, though, hasn't been on the bench, hasn't had any minutes. But what we've seen from the likes of Anthony Martial, almost Cavani should play, even though he hasn't had the minutes. So Solskjaer does like to introduce these players back slowly, but we're kind of call it. We do need Edison Cavani, definitely, in my opinion.
As much as Martial frustrated me on the weekend, he really didn't get service. Like, let's be real, yeah? Like, he wasn't good, and I'm not going to say he was, because he wasn't. He was garbage. But I can say he should have gotten busier, but there was no clear-cut chance that Martial had where you said, oh, Cavani would have done that better. Sure, movement-wise, definitely, but there was just no service into the forward players. So I don't think it's really fair to say Martial should definitely be benched this week. Cavani's got the same issue. They're both not fit. We have to remember, Martial didn't play for the best part of 6 months, and that was his first start. So I'm willing to give the Frenchman the benefit of the doubt. Let's give him an opportunity this weekend. If he doesn't play well, then yes, I'm all for bringing Cavani in if he's had 6 months out or 6 weeks out of training. But we need to give Martial, for me, just one more opportunity. In saying that, I'd be playing Martial on the left. I'd be playing Mason Greenwood through the middle.
Well, from the captain of Martial FC here and Larry to his rival in terms of Adam, move on, Larry, from the Anthony Martial love. I just bring that up in regards to, you talk about Martial got no service, and I completely agree. But okay, when the striker gives us nothing, when our team's not playing well and we don't sort of afford them the opportunities, Martial was garbage. Okay, if that same thing is Edison Cavani, well, Cavani's going to give us something in just terms of his work rate. And look, I don't use the work rate as something to beat Martial with, because he actually has quite a good work rate when you compare to our other forwards. Marcus Rashford is potentially our laziest player, but in terms of sprints and everything, it looks different. But if you watch off the ball, Martial does get through a lot of work. But in terms of, as the centre forward role, in terms of occupying central defenders, it was a very easy game for the Southampton defenders, where Cavani would have made an absolute nightmare, even if he wasn't getting the ball. And that's why I think, look, if Martial nicked a goal, you could argue for him to start. Okay, he's done something. But if he has done nothing, I think it has to be Cavani.
Well, I don't think Cavani's going to start this game. So Adam can give me a hard time, or anyone else can disagree with me. That's completely fine. But Cavani's not going to start this weekend because he's not match fit. We saw it when he first came in, from when we first signed him on the free transfer. He got eased in, Cavani. Came off the bench. Same thing's going to happen here. He's 34 years of age. Like, look, I love Cavani too. And if he's match fit, no worries. Chuck him up front. But I don't think he's match fit. I'm not saying Martial deserves to start over Cavani. I'm saying I don't think Cavani will start over Martial, simply because, as bad as Martial was, Cavani's less match fit than he is.
In terms of my front three, I think the front three almost is nailed on, in my opinion. I think it'll be Greenwood on the right, Cavani through the middle, and Jadon Sancho on the left. I think everyone's pinned up on Jadon Sancho as his right winger. I think Solskjaer might very well see him as a left winger. But just one comment here, we'll just go back to which Rob brought up earlier, which I misread. But he was saying, I think Rob was referring to the international commitments for Cavani. So you see Cavani, obviously, England or Premier League have sort of banned players going to these sort of red zones, these hotspots for international duty, and Cavani is obviously sort of going to be affected by that and not being able to go to play for Uruguay. I'm not sure which other players are affected, something we could research a little bit on, but just your thoughts on Man United, or it's not Man United, it's the league and the government in general holding these players back. Do you think it's, well, they are their employer, but just your thoughts on it?
United and every other Premier League club has to reserve their own interests, and it does not serve United or any other Premier League club well should their players go to Brazil, Uruguay, or wherever, or Sydney at this point, contract COVID, go back into their teams, spread it around to their potential squads, and then they're ravished. And then United can't play Rashford, Pogba, and Bruno one game because Cavani wants to go play for Uruguay, and they all got in close contact with him. Now you tell me, Tom, what's the right thing here? This is just the way it's got to be. I'm sorry for Cavani. I understand you enjoy playing for your country, but United pay your wages. You got to live with it. Simple as.
No, look, I completely agree with that. I can understand from a footballer's point of view and their sort of professional drive and their passion to play for their country, and all that. I fully understand that. But for me, before football, it's Man United. It's Man United. Everything else.
I agree with you.
I do feel for those people, or the players. But yeah, it's Man United for me. Look, Cavani, I saw him post a selfie the other day. He looked happy enough, so I'm sure he'll get over it. A comment here from Ahmad. Sorry, I'm late. What did I miss? Not much. Just a little bit of Ronaldo discussion. Reports Arsenal have put in a bid of £7 million for him or something. They think they can get him. But just one more comment here from George saying a club should never have the right to deny a player the chance to represent their country regardless of cost or size of the stature of the club, which is interesting.
Different time, George. It's a different time.
And two comments from here. Larry's right, won't start after the internationals at least for Cavani. And Elliot saying neither of them look match fit. Well, Cavani just standing tall looks fitter than Martial in terms of the way Martial.
Sorry, can I actually say something, Tom? I'm not, and this isn't me going overboard. For those criticizing Martial, did you see what Sancho's dished up the last two games? Been pretty average. I'm saying. Look, he's not match fit either. I'm not saying he's bad, but I just want to highlight, like, Sancho's not match fit and he looks poor, but no one's saying a thing because he's a new signing. Fancy, no worries. Martial's been putting in a bad game where he got no service. Oh, he's rubbish. Get rid of him. Oh no,
look, Martial is an easy target. Of course he is, but look, it's the cards you dealt with at United. When you're at United, you do have to overcome the odds, and even if things aren't falling for you as a striker, you're going to have to make things happen. But I agree with you that he's an easy target. And yeah, Jadon Sancho, and I know you're definitely not criticizing Jadon Sancho, but
no.
It's definitely an interesting topic. But just at the other end of the pitch, Raphael Varane hasn't played, not match fit. Starts.
We need something to get happy about. Raphael Varane, he's got to start. But who does he start for? That's the question. If it was me, I'd be benching Harry Maguire. But I don't think Ollie's going to do that. I think he'll bench Lindelof. But I think Varane starts this game.
Well, he has to. Well, it makes hypocrites of us. We're just saying that to be match fit to play. And then obviously Raphael Varane hasn't been playing. We say throw him in there. But look, you say that in terms of Victor Lindelof has been the better of the centre-backs, which he has. And that's not – Harry Maguire hasn't been poor, but Victor Lindelof has been played quite well. Harry Maguire's the captain, though. Varane's been brought in to play with Harry Maguire. Victor Lindelof will be dropped. Is there a situation, though, especially in terms of the way Wolves set up? I haven't seen how they've set up, but they obviously have played well in the last two games from what I've seen in the highlights. I can't see this happening. Is there an opportunity where he might go three at the back in this one? Varane, Lindelof, and Maguire?
I don't think so. Wolves play. I recall they did play with a three-man defense. I haven't been watching them close enough.
Yeah, under Nuno, quite often they did with the wing backs. But I'm not sure how they lined up. I know Rob has watched a bit of them this year. Rob, you can get in your comments if they play a 3 or a 4 at the back or a 5, depending on how you look at it. But it will be. Look, I definitely don't expect Solskjaer to line up with 5 at the back. But look, when you do play
with a 3 at the back. No, they have been. Yeah. It could be Solskjaer looks to counter them that way. And it could be a good way to, like, if we're going to use that same argument about match fitness, it could be a good way to ease Raphael Varane in. If you play him, you play actually Varane and Maguire. You play Lindelof and Varane and you put Maguire in the middle, then you're covering Maguire's lack of pace there. He's protected. Could work. I don't think it's the craziest idea, put it that way.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just last comment on regarding Marshall here from Ryan. Marshall doesn't look hungry in games, never chasing the ball, strolls about. He's got to have some fire in his own belly to get himself out of this rut. And look, out of the rut, that's what when he plays, regardless of what you think in terms of his work rate, his positioning, he needs to score. And it was such a trait of his when when Solskjaer first came in. Marshall could find the back of the net. He's not finding the back of the net, and ultimately that might be what's going to cost him.
That's
But
just confidence, mate. If he scores one, he could get on a run, but he just needs to get that one goal.
George saying here we don't want a low block game again, which will be interesting because we've struggled against Wolves in the past. It's always a low scoring affair, especially at the Molineux. It seems like it's our 17th game against them in the past 2 years. We're always playing there. But is there any other players you want to discuss in regards to should be playing or shouldn't be playing this week?
Well, give me your 11. So let's think about the threats that Wolves pose. Okay, so we've got Adama Traore, obviously. You've got Semedo, who's a very attacking fullback. And then you've got big striker. What's wrong with me the last few days? I can't think of names.
Jimenez.
Yeah,
he's the player. Look, I know the situation has changed. He's a player. We're talking about Haaland. We're talking about Ronaldo. We're talking about Cavani. And obviously the situation has changed with his injury in recent years, the head injury he suffered. Jimenez is the striker for me. I think he's a fantastic striker.
He is. He is a fantastic striker. And again, it comes down to that argument of, is this the game where you do want a bit more of a physical presence? If you're going with your, the standard four at the back, I think there's a reason maybe that you do opt to put Varane in instead of Lindelof, where Jimenez is a very physical striker. Harry Maguire can handle that. Lindelof, that is a target for him. And he's been exposed against Wolves before. So I think it could be... So just, give me your 11, Tom. Just thinking of the threats that Wolves pose, what would you be going for?
Look, not to be big-headed, because Wolves have caused us a lot of troubles in the past, and we've lost to some poor oppositions in recent years, or throughout our time watching United. So I wouldn't say, just because it's Wolves, I wouldn't worry about them. But at the end of the day, we are Man United playing against Wolves. So quite frankly, I don't care what Wolves do. It's Man United coming to town. We should, no matter what we do, should be good enough. So for me, obviously, Luke Shaw at left back, Wan-Bissaka on the right. Look, Victor Lindelof has been good, but it's Man United. Rafael Varane's here, play him next to Maguire. Then midfield's the interesting one, because I said the front three, in my opinion, should be Sancho, Cavani, and Greenwood. Then the midfield three, I'm dropping Pogba in with Bruno. Then it all comes down to that number 6. We're not going to get a transfer done in time before Sunday. So, in my opinion, it'll be Matic, because it's a shootout between Matic and Fred. But then a lot of people, I'm saying, does Donny van de Beek's attribute suit a defensive midfield? I wouldn't be throwing him in there to the cold in terms of because it's not a must-win game, but it almost very much feels like a must-win game. So for me, it'll be Matic, Pogba, and Bruno. I definitely can't see that happening. I could very much see Matic and Fred, or Matic and look, maybe even Matic and Van der Beek. I think it will be a 2 in there.
But, if it's Matic and Fred again, don't worry about me shaving my head. I'll be pulling my hair out.
But well, Adam's here, which I agree. I don't know why I feel nervous about this game, and it's just something about Wolves away. I don't know what it is, but yeah, something. Just a few team selections here before we wrap up the podcast. Moyes saying Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Harry, Shaw, Matic, and Van der Beek, Sancho, Bruno, Pogba, and Greenwood. And one here from Andy, De Gea, Shaw, Harry Maguire. I like Slabhead though. Varane, Wan-Bissaka, Van der Beek, and Fred. Interesting one. Pogba, Sancho, Greenwood, and Bruno. The main thing I want from this, and look, it's always a possibility with Mike Dean, both ends of the field, but a Bruno Fernandes penalty. Been a while, hasn't it?
It has. You know what? That's what I need to lift my mood. I need to see a Bruno Fernandes penalty in the 90th minute.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, Moyes is saying, which kind of agrees with me, he's not going with one defensive mid at Wolves, not a chance, which was why I do think it'll be a 2 in there. And you just said some good news, Larry, but maybe some bad news. Amaz just thrown in the thing. We haven't been scrolling through our phone while we've been on air, but he's just saying Fabrizio Romano has tweeted, Ronaldo has left the Juventus training after 40 minutes, saying goodbye to his teammates, wants to leave in the next few hours, waiting on Mendes to bring the official bid. So, look, I'm sure this time tomorrow we'll have another discussion about it. But as I said, all we can hope for is Scott McTominay is nice and fit by November 7 at Old Trafford to absolutely snap Ronaldo in half and make that Roy Keane tackle on Haaland look like a love tap.
Yeah, sorry, I was being too distracted by this. Do you want to repeat that?
I just had visions of McTominay doing that Roy Keane challenge on Haaland. I can imagine McTominay doing that to Ronaldo.
Oh, it's hard to talk about the game, isn't it? It's really hard to talk about the game. And it's funny that from a United fan perspective, like, this one hurts, man. It really hurts. It feels like a kick to the guts.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. A lot of people are not over it, but they're saying I'll get over it. Football loyalty's dead. You should know that. But look, it's Man United. It does feel different. It does hurt. And look, everyone says, there's more to life than football, more to life than Man United. Well, you don't support Man United. You don't understand. It does affect you. And look, we will get over it. Hopefully we get over it by Man City having an absolute awful season and Ronaldo flopping. And then we can look back at it and think, oh, he's an idiot for going, but we still like him. But we won't know that until he obviously goes. I just seen a comment here from Adam and Rob, and just as we wrap up, both members of the supporters club here, we sort of always have a chat before the game as the team news comes out. But Rob, I'm more nervous about the lineup than any. We always have a good chat when that team news comes through, which I'm sure we'll be having. I think it's a 1:30 Monday morning kickoff here. That's not good. But so at 12:30 Monday morning, we'll be having obviously a moan when Fred and Matic are selected in the midfield. But that is a debate for another day. But Larry, it's good to chat. I'm sure we'll be discussing Ronaldo in a day or two when the inevitable happens. But I think it's good also good in the comments to get a lot of people with different opinion, because it is an emotional subject about Ronaldo.
Yeah, it is. But when it's official time, I'll have my 2-finger salute ready for you.
No, definitely. And if anyone can send Larry any links to, I don't know, Big W, Click and Collect or anything, so he can get a head start on his clippers for, we'll do a live on air. Do you think live on air shave?
Oh, I think that's a bit too much for me. I got the Manscaped blazer, but that's only good for a certain round component of my body. Not quite good for the head, I don't think.
Yeah, we've got to keep it above board. Yeah.
Andy, please take care of yourself. What's going on there? Come on, mate. Ronaldo's not worth that.
Well, Ahmad definitely has the clippers ready, but time will tell. And Gary Lineker on Monday Night Football. Well, he's doing Spanish football now. They got him over to the Spanish league, then Lionel Messi left. So it will be interesting. But on that, you just mentioned there, if anyone does go to Sky Sports YouTube channel, he's talking about the boxes when Leicester won the league on Match of the Day. But I'll try and get that image out of my mind. But if anyone goes on the Sky Sports YouTube page, watch not Cristiano Ronaldo, the Roy Keane interview with Gary Neville. It's an hour long. Grab a beer. It's a fantastic interview. Roy Keane speaks about his career, both in management, both as a player. Some of the stories as he's walking through sort of a forest. It's fantastic. Urge everyone to go watch that. Obviously, after you've watched this, and made sure you have subscribed and left a like on this video. But until then, Larry, if there's any breaking news regarding Ronaldo, I'm sure we'll go live tomorrow. If not, we'll maybe have a chat post Wolves.
Sounds good, mate. Looking forward to it. And cheers to everyone for tuning into the comments. It's actually nice, it's nice giving. You know what? Cheers to Ronaldo. He's pissed me off so much that I forgot we're in lockdown. So shout out to the Portuguese.
Definitely. Well, hopefully everyone has a good weekend. It's Friday night here in Sydney. Have a good weekend, and we'll chat to you either tomorrow with some more devastating news, or hopefully on Monday after 3 points. So have a good one, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.